All right, so this next video was actually posted on the channel below, and it was one of the most upvoted questions. So by request, I'm going to answer it. If you want your question answered, post it below, and who knows, maybe it could be next as well. So the question is, lots of people say you're putting on a mask when you do pickup, but which I'm reading it as one is putting on a mask when one does pickup. How do you stay true to yourself while doing game? How do you know if you're not being authentic? All right, so there's a lot of layers to this. First of all, this idea of putting on a mask while doing pickup. It is true that for some people that is the case. For most people that are truly good at game, or for most people that have experienced having a lot of girls into them over a long period of time, this won't be the case anymore, because you will start to grow into that identity of the high value guy. And hopefully, and this can be true even from the start, even before you're experienced, hopefully you actually believe the stuff you're putting out there. So if you truly believe that the girl is better than you and that you don't deserve her, and then you're trying to act high value and screen the girl, yeah, you are putting on a mask because you're literally saying things to the girl you don't believe. But if you legitimately believe you are high value, believe that you are adding value to the girl's life, you believe that she would be better off having you in her life than not, well, now the mentality that you are giving her a hard time, the mentality that you are screening her, the mentality even that you say, like, I'm not sure we should sleep together right away tonight, all of that kind of stuff makes sense, okay? As you get to be a high value guy, you start to routinely turn down sex. Now, obviously, you start to routinely say yes to sex too with girls that are of the caliber you like or girls whose personality you like, but you do say no a lot. Pretty much most nights that I go out, I will be saying no to certain girls, especially because for me, I do a lot of time winging with students. So a lot of times I'm talking to girls that, like, maybe the student is talking to, you know, girls that are like 6s, 7s, and 8s, and that's hot for him, and that's you know, the level he's at, and that's what he's working on. For me, I want girls that are 9s and 10s, but I'm talking to maybe the girl the student's talking to is an 8, which is, you know, cute enough, but then her friends are like 6s, and I have to talk to them. It's very common those girls are going to start to like me. It's very common those girls are going to be attracted to me and want to take me home, and that can be very useful for the student because it can help leverage him to get his girl home for sure. But end of the day, I'm not sleeping with those girls. I do have standards for who I sleep with. I know that every single time I sleep with a girl, there's a tiny risk of, who knows, pregnancy, STD, that kind of stuff. And so I don't want to spend that risk of a girl that's below a certain caliber. So in general, I'm not sleeping with girls below that caliber. Plus, it just won't be enjoyable for me. It won't be, you know, enjoyable, fulfilling, those kind of things. And so I say no to sex a lot more than I say yes to sex. As crazy as that sounds for a guy to say, because a lot of the girls that I'm talking to are just not that caliber. So you start to grow into it. It's that idea of being a selective guy starts to be your reality over time, and that's how the mask completely goes away. But even from the very beginning, if you know that you are the type of guy who will be good to a girl, and you know you're the type of guy who is trying to do something in his life and is growing and trying to achieve something, you know the type of a guy who has done his reading, his research, he's lived certain life experiences, you can share that with the girl. All of these are positives you can bring to the relationship, and you should know, and I don't mean think, I don't mean ponder, I mean know, that the girl is better off saying yes to you than no. If the girl were to become your girlfriend, that would be a benefit to her life in many ways. Some of them may be financial, some of them may be like lifestyle and experiential, some of them in terms of learning and education, some of them in terms of like the way that she'll feel loved or the way that you'll make love to her. Different things like that can all be positives and should be positives. And so you should know, and you'll know this sort of intellectually at first and more experientially the longer you do it, but you should know that the girl is better off saying yes to you. If you know that, if you believe, you are going to do a better job in game, and you're going to game with less of a mask and less of a facade, and you're going to trust yourself and trust that the experience of you is worthwhile. I'll take a little lesson or metaphor from sales here. Oftentimes, the best salespeople are not the people with the best sales technique. They're the people that believe most strongly in their product. Right? You in pickup are your own product. You are what you are selling to a girl, so to speak, or you are what you are allowing the girl the opportunity to experience, right? Not even selling to her, but allowing her the privilege of experiencing, right? But in any case, if you believe in your product, if you believe in yourself, if you believe that you are a positive for the girl, it does make it a lot easier to adopt a lot of these frames. If you believe that you're a negative for the girl, if you believe that you're tricking the girl and using the girl and that you're less than the girl and she should be doing better than you, yes, now you are putting on a facade, and now you're going to come off disingenuous, untrustworthy, creepy, all kinds of things like that. So the core thing here is understanding your value and understanding that the girl would be better off meeting you, dating you, sleeping with you, rather than not. And if you truly don't believe that's the case, then do what you can to make that the case. Whether that is getting in the gym so you feel like you look better, whether that is learning how to be good in bed so you know you can give a good experience, whether that is living a life that you're proud of in terms of you are, ambitious and growing and learning and have things to teach, right? Each and every one of those things is going to add to your own personal self-esteem and make your own life better. It's also going to make it more congruent that you are that high-value guy that the girl is lucky to be with. And even if you're not there yet, let's say you've just started on this journey of, game and self-help and improving yourself, and you are overweight and you're not that well educated yet, and you're still working on your game, you're a little stuttery and hesitant. That's not great. It would be better if you were further along the path, but that said, as long as you have determined you're on this path, you have determined that every single day you are improving yourself, first of all, the very fact you're doing that already makes you a catch. Because if the girl is caught up in that momentum and on that journey with you, you better believe she's going to improve herself. But also, that girl is getting on board a train to the most amazing man ever. And as long as you're on that journey, you can kind of act as though you're already there, right? But you do have to be on the journey. You do have to earn it to be there. So in terms of the putting on a mask thing, the first and most important thing is belief. Belief in yourself, belief in your product, so that when you're acting as a high-value guy and acting as a guy who has the ability to screen girls, the ability to be selective, it's coming from a genuine place. Second point, as far as eliminating a facade, and again, if you get that internal belief right, a lot of this will happen naturally. But the second thing is that a lot of guys, when they learn pickup technique, they find that using pickup technique is a little foreign to them. And this is akin to when you start playing a sport, the techniques of that sport are a little bit foreign to you. So for example, if you first start swimming, the strokes don't feel natural until you've done them many, many times. Or you start playing a soccer or basketball, the movements you make with the ball, at first they're a little bit clunky and at first they seem awkward. The longer you practice them, the more they're going to become natural. And so you need the time to just kind of allow them to become natural. And a little bit of feeling unnatural along the way as you ingrain the skill is normal, just on a technical level. However, again, if the beliefs behind it are right, that will smooth out a little bit faster overall. But in general, just as a quick check for any behavior you're doing, ask yourself the following questions. Would I do this behavior around my friends I've known for years? If not, you may be applying a little bit of a facade and there may be a more natural way for you to do things. Second is, would I do this around a girl who I knew had a crush on me? Like a girl that I know I don't need to impress, I know I'm going home with her at the end of the night regardless. Would I be doing it around her? Or the third one, which is a version of the second one, is would I be doing this around a girl who's already my girlfriend? Would I be doing this in a situation where I don't feel the need to impress? If you find that when you're doing a lot of techniques, you are drastically changing your behavior from that natural behavior you are when you're your best self around people you're comfortable with, it may be that you're trying to apply too many techniques too quickly. Right? Game should, at its core, be a manifestation of who you are being your best self with a little sprinkling of technique to spice things up and add on to it. If you find that you're putting on too much of a mask, you may be overemphasizing the technique part of game and underemphasizing the belief and core who you are part of game. Now, technique is absolutely critical, right? Again, going back to the sports analogy, if you play basketball and you never learn to shoot properly or never learn to dribble properly, all the belief in the world and all the right ideas about the game are not going to help you in the end of the day. Right? You do need to learn techniques, but with game, or even in a sport, right? You're only on any particular game day able to use the techniques that have become second nature to you. The new techniques you're working on, the ones that are still clunky, are not available to you on game day. So when you go and talk to a girl that you like, trust what's in you, trust the techniques you have, and trust that some of them will come out, and for the most part, you'll be better off in that particular interaction being your most normal self and the self you'd be around a girl you were confident with or similar to how you'd act around a friend. Then over time, you'll be implementing a little bit of technique, a little bit of extra, the stuff that's a little awkward, the stuff that's a little new for you, and over time, that's gonna become normal for you and become part of your core habitual behaviors when you're being your best self. So it is possible to try and implement too many techniques too quickly. And if that is the case, now you are acting out of character. Not necessarily even acting out of character, you're just doing things you're not yet good at. And so you're expressing things that you're incompetent and awkward doing, right? That doesn't mean you're not worthy of that behavior. It doesn't mean you're not high value enough to use that behavior. It just means you haven't practiced it enough, right? And so if that's the case, if you're just unpracticed and awkward, just implement fewer techniques at once. Okay, you do need to learn technique, but you don't need to master every single technique in the first week you're learning game. You can get it gradually over time. And in fact, you'll learn faster and better by doing it that way because you'll actually experience more success along the way, and that's going to feed into the belief system that's going to make you more congruent, and also having that belief system is going to make the techniques themselves work better, okay? So two things. First of all, your fundamental belief about yourself is absolutely critical. Secondly, ask yourself, are you acting the way you would around people who you're actually comfortable with and that you know you have value around? And then thirdly, if you are doing things that are awkward, it may be that it's just technically awkward, not like in terms of how you believe in yourself or who you are on a core level. You just may be implementing too many techniques too fast. If that's the case, ease off. You'll get to the techniques eventually. Just implement a few techniques at a time instead of all of them at once.